Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. So past few weeks we've been taking a look at some starter pens that I would recommend. This week it's the time for the follow-on pens, the next level pens. So I've got another 5 pens. Here's a quick look at them. What we'll do is we'll compare them against each other. We'll just have a quick look. They'll be brought out in ascending price order. This isn't a full review, and this is just a selection of pens from my current collection. So join me now down on the table. Let's jump on in. Here we are down on the table. So follow-on pens, not from mainland China. What do I mean by follow-on pens? Well, in previous videos where we've looked at starter pens, they were, I'm not going to say cheap, but they were nice entry-level pens. And then after you've got a few of those, you start wanting to maybe grow your collection or grow your choice of pens. And that's where I came up with this idea of a follow-on pen. So these are pens that, yes, they're a little bit more in terms of cost, but you're also talking slightly different quality levels and slightly different ways of looking and behaving. So we're going to start with a Lamy AL Star or All Star. This is the same shape as a Lamy Safari, but it's in aluminium. And I don't know why, I much prefer this AL Star to the Safari. The Safari, I'll use it, but I don't really overly enjoy using it. But I find the AL Star very, very nice to use. Now in here, I do have a 1.5 stub nib. That was my choice. As you can see here, this is actually written with this pen. I use this pen mainly for titles now. I've got this nice purple ink in here. I've had loads of different inks. It uses the same nibs as the Safari. So there's a massive range of nib choice. Dead easy to swap. So you can change the nibs really, really quickly. Really, really easily. And this is why I thought it's a nice one to include in this next level, this follow-on pen. It's got the same section. This section is actually transparent. Very slightly. Let me just see if I can capture that on the camera for you. Not sure if it comes through on the camera, but I can see through it. It's got that same triangular section, so it guides your fingers, which is nice. If you're still getting into fountain pens, you've still got that same as you've got with the Safari, where it's guiding how to hold the pen. I quite enjoy that. It's metal. We've got a converter. I can't remember with this one, but I think I actually had to pay separate for the converter. There's no way to eyedropper this. You've got here this little window, but it's not sealed, so it's actually empty. So if you try to eyedropper it, all your ink would go pouring out. It is postable. I don't post it. I do find it makes it feel very, very long. Makes it feel a little bit like a magic wand if I have it posted. But unposted, very pleasant. The section, I think if it had been slightly wider, I would have preferred that, but that's a very personal choice. So we've got here a Lamy AL Star. I'll say I've got a 1.5 stub nib on this. The price for this was 75 Aussie dollars. Do look around though, because you can get these a little bit cheaper. The ink is by Oster. And it's called Cosmic Swirl. This is what I like about a stub nib. It's the line variation. As I say, with this one, it's a bit extreme. I tend to use this for titles, for page headers, for even sometimes like subheaders. It just makes it stand out a little bit better. Let's look at line variation. So there's no pressure. There's with pressure. Can't really see much of a difference. None with, none with. Where we do see a difference, I say it's a stub nib. So going down, we've got really wide line. Going across, really thin line. And then that comes out in the writing. Let's move the mic down to the page and write a sentence. it's not possible to write small with this nib. I enjoy using it. There's a little bit of scratchiness to it. It's not catching the paper, but it's just giving that gorgeous tactileness. The nib doesn't make a lot of noise, so nice and quiet, but if you want small writing with this nib, certainly not possible, but you could easily put a fine, an extra fine, a medium, any of the other nib sizes. As I say, this is a standard Lamy nib there that you can use and swap with what you've got on the Safari. So that's the Lamy All-Star. My second pen by TWSBI. This is the TWSBI Diamond 580. This is all transparent. They do some models where you've got some colour to it. They also do a model where you've got aluminium fittings. This isn't one of those aluminium ones. Very, very nice pen. Smallish nib. I believe the nib's made for them by Rohrer. There we go. One of the beauties with this, it's easy to swap the nibs. There we go. Let's see if I can get this to focus in now. Not sure if you can see it, but the body, it's got diamond facets on it. That's why it's called Diamond 580. And as I twist that, you capture the light. Just trying to get that. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Bit tricky sometimes to get that to capture. Just move the page up. So here we've got a TWSBI Diamond 580. 580 with a broad nib. Now I didn't show you the section. I do find the section is a little bit on the thin side. Length of the pen though is quite nice. And don't even attempt to post it. It only literally sits on the end of that piston knob there. And if you accidentally wiggle it too much, you could end up ejecting ink. How much does this cost though? This cost 85 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Atrementis. And it's cherry. Very nice colour this. And because it's one of the Atrementis scented inks, certainly when you smell the ink in the bottle, it's got a very strong cherry smell to it. Line variation, so there's none. A little bit of pressure and we get a very nice generous line, very wet line as well. So none with, none with, none with. Nice soft nib on here. It's a pen I've had for a couple of years, so the nib, it would have had a bit of use, which would have softened it down a little bit more. And then move the mic for the sentence. Nice soft nib. There's a lot of give to it. There's a nice springiness to it. Hopefully it came over on the mic. There's a little bit of noise so you can hear it right. It's not like it's singing. The best way to describe it, it's like it's whispering to me as I'm trying to write with it. Very pleasant. Really like using this pen. It's such a nice, comfortable pen to use. Could do with being a little bit wider, but that's been very picky. So this is the TWSBI Diamond 580. Let's move the page up again. So the next pen, we're going to a metal pen. So the TWSBI, that was plastic. This one is virtually all metal. Very heavy pen, very weighty pen. You certainly know it's in your hand. This is the Monteverde Ritma. This is in the olive colour. Love the colour of this pen. I think it's really, really nice. The cap, it pulls off, but the cap is actually magnetic. So hopefully I can show this as I put it on. So I'm going to just gently tap it. And eventually the magnet there caught and snap. Do that one more time. Nice audible snap as that goes on. I personally aren't a fan of these types of caps with the magnet, but it's a nice novelty. It's something different, isn't it? The whole pen, as I say, is very weighty. There's not a lot of variation in terms of the width. The really difference is down here at the bottom, and that's so you can post it. Posts really well. That magnet, again, there's a magnet here. So as we can see there, if we can get so it catches, There you go, it slots on. So it posts very well. I find the pen is more than comfortable to use unposted. The nib, I believe, is a Yoho nib. There we go, we've got a black nib on here. I like the black nib and the way it works with the rest of the pen. All metal fittings, came with the converter. A very pleasant pen to use, the weight is ever so nice. So let's write with this. So we've got the Monteverde, Ritma. This has got a broad nib, and this cost 90 Aussie dollars. The ink is by, hopefully I spell this right, Rohrer and Klingner, and it's Alt-Goldgrun. Nice green ink this. Every time I hear the name of this brand, because of the Klingner, it makes me think about MASH. I've actually just finished rewatching MASH. And yeah, every time I see this name, all I think of is Corporal Klingner walking around in his dresses. Line variation. So there's no pressure. There's with pressure. So we do get a slightly wider line. There's none with, none with, none and with. We'll move the mic to write the sentence. It's a stiffish nib. There's not a lot of bounce to it, not a lot of softness. As I said, I believe it's a Yoho nib. Now, I have had issues with this pen. The initial ink I had in there was Diamine Olive Swirl, which was part of the ink vent calendar. And it's a chameleon ink, which means it's got shimmer particles. And to me, the shimmer particles, they were causing an issue, and they were actually blocking up the feed here. So what I did is I pulled it all apart and I ran the feed and the nib through an ultrasonic cleaner. After that, not had as many issues, so the pen writes normally quite well. But what I do find is sometimes after a page and a half, couple of pages, the ink flow does seem to dry out, and I just need to give it a couple of good shakes and it'll start again. Not sure if that's an issue with the feed. Maybe there's still some of that chameleon in there. But certainly going forward, I won't be using any shimmer inks in this pen. So that's the Monteverde Ritma. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. We're going for a little bit of a different looking pen now. We're going to the Nahvalur Schuylkill. There we go. This is in Paul Peter Navy. I've got a couple of these in different colours. Very nice acrylic on this. Because of the way it is acrylic, it's quite likely that no two will have the exact same pattern in, which is nice. So we've got in here blues, we've got like browns, oranges, bit of gold. We've got there some nice gold there. Can we see that shining in the light? This pen is a piston filling pen. So again, I won't work the mechanism. It does have a little ink window. It's just about usable. Again, this is a very personal thing. I'd have liked to have seen that double the width, but I can just about see the ink levels in there. This gorgeous acrylic continues all the way down, even there into the section. The section, not too bad. I think it's just about the right width. It's quite comfortable to use. We've got a little lip down here at the bottom, so my fingers can rest on that. If you hold your pen further up, the threads here, they don't seem to dig into my finger too much, but I hold my pens down low. Comes with a Nahvalur nib, so this is a medium nib. Number 6 size nibs. I've got my other one, I've put a Rohrer nib in it. The Rohrer nib works really well. I did try a Bock nib, and what I found with a Bock nib is it clicked as I was writing, as if it wasn't quite the right shape. But with a Rohrer nib, I've had no issues. Very pretty. Fits well in the hand, nice length. Posts, like the TWSBI, it posts onto the filler cap, so I wouldn't recommend posting it. As you can see there, I was twisting a little bit, and that was starting to work the mechanism. So we've got here a Nahvalur. I know they've changed the name. It used to be called Nahvalur, but it's now Nahvalur, same pronunciation, but different spelling. This is the Icelandic spelling, and it's the Schuylkill. And it's got a medium nib. Price-wise, 92 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Noodlers. It's Navajo Turquoise. I think I spelled that wrong. My spelling brain is not working today. This ink has been renamed. I believe it's now Turquoise of the Mesas. Line variation, there's none. There's with pressure. Fairly stiff nib, a little bit of softness to it, but not enough to really see. No pressure with, none with, none with. Let's move the mic for a sentence. This is a nice pen to write with. The nib, there's a little bit of audible feedback. I say there's a little bit of softness to it, so you can get a little bit of tactile feel as well. Puts down a very nice line. It's a medium nib. I've got a broad nib in this, and I've got a double broad even. All the Nahvalur nibs I've got, they're all very, very nice. And as I say, it is a number 6 nib, so it's easy to swap. I do have another Schuylkill, as I say, I've swapped. I've now got a broad Rohrer nib on that. Very nice pen, nice colours, nice size, nice shape, nice to write with, enjoyable, and you can just about, hopefully you can see there, this pen is getting quite low in ink. You can see the difference there in the ink window. So that's the Nahvalur Schuylkill. Just going to move the page up so we can get the final pen with its writing on there. So the final pen, this is by Opus 88. Now I hummed and hawed about including this, because it is a little bit on the pricey side. This was, well, when I bought it, it was $120, but now it's 142 Aussie dollars. So just be aware there is a price difference. But I do think it's a really good follow-on pen. This is the Koloro model, and this is in blue and teal. So what we've got is we've got blue ebonite there on the cap, and then we've got this teal plastic. One of the downsides I find with this, I can't really see the ink level. Even though it's slightly translucent, it's very difficult to actually see what the ink level is, which is a shame. This pen is a Japanese eyedropper. I believe these nibs are made by Rohrer, but I'm not 100% certain on that. The section does feel thin, could do with being a little bit wider. It's got a nice shape to it, so it does guide the fingers. As I say, I hold my pens down low, and my fingers are guided down to that position on this pen. You could hold it higher up, but to me it feels a little bit, well, to be honest, it feels alien to me. Lengthwise is very nice. I always use this unposted. It will post, it posts quite nicely. Does feel long, but unposted I find very pleasant. So we've got here an Opus 88 Koloro broad nib. As I said, to buy these now, when I did my checks about a week ago, 142 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Jack Frost. So this ink, it's obviously blue, has a red sheen but also has a nice blue shimmer to it, and I've had no issues with this feed getting blocked by the shimmer particles on this ink. Line variation, there's no pressure, with pressure, very soft feeling nib, get some nice line variation from that. None and with, none and with. We'll move the mic and write the sentence. I enjoy writing with this pen. Could do with being a little bit wider, but the nib, it's got the softness to it, so to me it fetches out some really interesting characteristics and character when I'm writing. As you can see here, you know, we've got going down on the J, that slightly wider line, next to the slightly thinner on the O and the V. The ink, are we seeing any of that sheen? See it? Yeah, if I can capture that right. Hopefully this comes over on the camera. Seeing plenty of the red sheen coming through, and also little bits of that nice blue shimmer in there. I enjoy using this pen, and it's one of the pens I occasionally don't have it inked up, but I usually have it inked up virtually all the time, generally with a blue or a teal ink. I say at the moment I've got Diamine Jack Frost in there. Very enjoyable, and I think it's well worth the $142. It does seem a lot of money for a pen, but I think it's actually quite good value the way with the whole writing experience it gives. So that's the Opus 88 Koloro. Let's swap over and fetch all the pens back for one final look. So my selection of follow-on pens, we've got the Lamy AL Star, the TWSBI Diamond 580, the Monteverde Ritma, the Nahvalur Schuylkill, and the Opus 88 Koloro. If I was told I could pick any one of these pens, it would actually be a bit of a no-brainer. The pen I would pick, the one that I always reach for when I'm looking for a pen in this range, is actually the TWSBI Diamond 580. I really enjoy this pen. It's nice, it's a good fit, it's a good feel, feels good quality. I love the demonstrator nature. I love the way that the facets catch the light. Of these 5 pens, this is the one, if I was to be asked what's the recommendation, try a TWSBI Diamond 580. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. So you've seen my selection here, the 5-hour again. What pens would you add into that selection? It'd be great if we can start building a resource for people to come in and see what others are recommending. Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.